You know that feeling when everyone tells you you're wrong, but deep in your gut, you just know you're right. Well, imagine that feeling. Except the stakes are your baby's safety and a dog everyone thinks is dangerous. What happened next? Nobody saw it coming. Not even the parents themselves. Listen, I need you to picture this. A house divided, a marriage hanging by a thread. And at the center of it all, a golden retriever named Blay and a baby girl called Riley. Sounds peaceful, right? Wrong. Because the father was absolutely convinced this dog was a ticking time bomb. And the mother, she was fighting a losing battle to save him. Now, before we dive deeper into this unbelievable story, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, go ahead and smash that like button. Better yet, drop a comment telling me where you're tuning in from. Are you in New York, Tokyo, London? I genuinely love seeing how these stories connect people from every corner of the planet. Alright, let's get back to it. So here's where things get intense. It's a Tuesday morning. The sun's barely up, and already, Damon is pacing the kitchen like a man possessed. His wife, Leia, is standing there, holding their 8-month-old daughter, and the tension. You could cut it with a knife. I've made up my mind, Damon announces, his voice sharp as broken glass. The dog goes. The dog goes. Today, I already made the call. The shelter's picking him up this afternoon. Can you imagine? The man didn't even discuss it. Just picked up the phone and decided the dog's fate. Leia's holding Riley, and the baby's little face scrunches up, because even she can feel the anger crackling through the air. You're being ridiculous. Leia fires back, trying to keep her voice steady, but failing miserably. Blay hasn't done a single thing to deserve this. Not one thing. Damon's practically shouting now. Are you kidding me right now? He follows her everywhere. Every single crawl she makes. He's right there, hovering. What do you think happens when he finally snaps? When those instincts kick in? Here's the thing about fear. It makes people see monsters where there aren't any. And Damon, he was seeing nothing but danger when he looked at Blay. Meanwhile, Leia saw something completely different. She saw protection, devotion. A dog who genuinely cared about their baby girl. You don't get it, Leia says, her voice cracking. He's not stalking her. He's guarding her. There's a difference. He's a dog. Damon slams his hand on the counter, making the coffee mugs rattle. Not a nanny, not a bodyguard. Just a dog with teeth and unpredictable instincts. And I'm not about to gamble with our daughter's life. Now, pause for a second. Put yourself in their shoes. On one hand, you've got a father terrified of worst-case scenarios. On Toyota, a mother who trusts her intuition. Who's right? Well, ... That's where things get interesting. Blay, meanwhile, is lying in the living room. He's not making a sound, doesn't growl, doesn't bark, just lies there with his head on his paws, those big golden eyes, watching Riley as she plays on her blanket. The dog knows something's wrong. You can see it in the way his ears are slightly back, the way his tail isn't wagging like it usually does. And that's when Leia has an idea. A crazy, desperate, brilliant idea. Fine, she says suddenly. You want proof? Let's get proof. Damon stops mid-rant. What are you talking about? Set up your phone. Record them. Give it 10 minutes. Just Riley and Blay in the living room. And we'll watch from the kitchen. If you're right, if he does anything even remotely dangerous, then fine. He goes. But if you're wrong, she pauses, letting that hang in the air. If you're wrong, you drop this whole thing. Forever. Now, think about this for a moment. She's basically betting everything on this dog. Her marriage, her peace of mind, maybe even her credibility as a mother. That, Tate's. Good. Damon stares at her for a long moment. You can practically see the gears turning in his head. Finally, he nods. All right, 10 minutes. But when I'm proven right, you remember this was your idea. Oh, the confidence. The absolute certainty. Little did he know, he was about to get the shock of his life. They set it up carefully. Phone propped on the bookshelf, camera angled perfectly to capture the whole living room. Riley's placed on her favorite soft carpet, surrounded by a few toys. She's babbling away, happy as can be, completely oblivious to the experiment happening around her. Blay takes his position, not too close, not too far, just a few feet away, lying down with his head up, watching her with those steady, unblinking eyes. This is insane, Damon mutters, as they retreat to the kitchen, phone streaming live footage to another device. We're actually doing this. Just watch, Leia whispers. Her heart's pounding so hard she can hear it in her ears. On screen, Riley's having the time of her life. She's smacking the carpet with her tiny hands, making those adorable baby noises that parents live for. And Blay, he's just watching, calm/patient, attentive. See. Damon points at the screen. He's staring at her. That's predatory behavior. That's protective behavior. Laja counters. Just wait. And then Riley does what babies do. She starts wiggling toward the coffee table, curious about its shiny legs. Now, here's something you need to understand about that coffee table. It's got sharp corners, the kind that could seriously hurt a baby if she bumped into it wrong. Blay sees where she's heading. Without a sound, he stands up, moves around her, and positions himself directly between Riley and the table. He's using his own body as a buffer zone. Did you see that? Leia's voice cracks with emotion. Damon's jaw tightens. His jaw's moving around. But you can tell something's shifting in his mind. The seed of doubt has been planted. Riley changes direction, heading toward her stuffed elephant. Blay relaxes slightly, his tail giving a small wag. Everything's peaceful. Everything's safe. And then the vacuum cleaner turns on. Now, you're probably thinking, so what? It's just a vacuum. But here's what you don't know. Here's the detail that makes everything that happens next absolutely Blay is terrified of the vacuum cleaner, not just mildly uncomfortable. Actually, genuinely scared. And there's a reason. 2 weeks ago, that robot vacuum got stuck on his fur while he was napping. It dragged him across the floor by his tail, the motor whining, Blay yelping in pain and panic, until Leia heard the commotion and freed him. Since then, he gives that vacuum a wide berth, leaves the room when it turns on, wants nothing to do with it. So when that machine rolls into the living room, humming its mechanical tune, Blay goes rigid. You can see it on the camera. The way his entire body tenses, the way his ears pin back. The vacuum's programmed to clean in a pattern, and right now, that pattern is taking it straight toward Riley. It's just the cleaner, Damon says, but his voice isn't as confident anymore. It won't hurt her. Leia doesn't respond. Say. Say can't, because she knows what that vacuum did to Blay. She knows what he's feeling right now, and she's holding her breath, waiting to see what happens next. Blay stands. His fur bristles along his spine. Every muscle in his body is coiled tight. He's clearly scared. Anyone can see that. But here's a thing that stops both parents cold. He doesn't run. He steps forward, placing himself between Riley and the approaching vacuum. His legs are shaking slightly. You can see it even through the camera. But he holds his ground. The vacuum gets closer. 3 feet away. 2 feet. And then Blay barks. One sharp, powerful bark that makes the phone speaker crackle with distortion. He lunges forward, not at Riley, not randomly, but with absolute purpose. He shoves his shoulder against the vacuum, pushing it away with his muzzle, forcing it to change direction. The machine spins, confused by the obstacle, and reroutes away from the baby. Riley, completely unaware of the danger she was, maybe never actually in, but Blay absolutely believed she was in, claps her hands together and squeals with delight. She reaches up and smacks Blaze back with her little palms, laughing. And Blay, he doesn't even look at her. His eyes stay locked on that vacuum cleaner until it disappears into the hallway. Only then, only when the threat is gone, does he lower himself down and curl his body protectively around Riley, forming a golden barrier between her and the rest of the world. The kitchen is silent, completely silent. Leia's got tears streaming down her face. Her hands are shaking as she covers her mouth. Damon is pale. Like, actually pale. The color has drained from his face as the reality of what he just witnessed sinks in. Did he just ... Damon's voice is barely a whisper. He protected her. Leia manages to say, from something that hurt him before. He was scared, you could see it, but he did it anyway. Think about what that means. Really think about it. Blay had every reason to run from that vacuum, every instinct probably screaming at him to get away from the thing that caused him pain. But instead, he faced his fear because Riley's safety mattered more. That's not just dog behavior. That's courage. That's love. Play it again, Damon says hoarsely. Leia rewinds the footage. They watch it a second time. The tension, the bark, the shove, Riley's innocent laughter, Blay's unwavering focus. With every viewing, the truth becomes more undeniable. I was wrong. Damas's voice cracks. God. I was so wrong. When the 10-minute timer finally goes off, they practically run back to the living. Blay leans into the touch, his tail wagging harder now. No grudge. No resentment. Just pure, simple forgiveness. That night, after Riley's been put to bed, after the house has gone quiet, Leia sits in the dim light of the living room and watches the footage one more time. She's not looking for anything new. She just needs to see it again. Needs to remember this moment. If that camera hadn't been there, she whispers to herself, nobody would have believed it. Not even me. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Sometimes the most incredible acts of love happen in the small moments. The quiet moments. The moments when nobody's watching except a blinking red light on a phone camera. Blaze sleeping outside Riley's nursery now. It's become his spot. Elias dead ahead on his paws, ears tuned to every sound, listening for the hum of that vacuum, for any threat real or imagined, for anything that might need him to be brave again. He's not resting because he's tired. He's resting because he knows Riley's safe. His job is done. For now, here's what gets me about this story. How many times do we judge based on fear instead of truth? How many times do we see danger where there's actually devotion? Damon almost made an irreversible decision based on what he thought he saw, instead of what was really there. And Leia, she trusted her instinct even when the whole world, or at least her husband, was telling her she was wrong. That takes incredible strength. But the real hero of this story, that's Blay. A dog who literally faced his fears to protect someone he loved, who didn't think about himself, didn't run, didn't hesitate when it mattered most. So let me ask you something. If you were in Damon's shoes, what would you have done? Would you have trusted the dog, or would fear have won? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious.